What if feeling at home has less to do with where you live and everything to do with what you notice? I want to start with the moment that surprised me. Just a few weeks ago, I'm going downstairs, going to get the day started, half awake, going to make coffee, and I noticed the light coming in the window, hitting the back of the couch, falling across the coffee table. It's that soft gray light at a very low angle that happens only in the winter here. And I noticed the smells, remnants of the candle from the night before, cinnamon, some apple spice, the holiday candle that we're burning because it's holiday season. And I could almost smell the coffee that hadn't brewed yet. It was nothing special. There was nothing Instagram worthy about this. I didn't pull up my phone to put a story out about what I was seeing. The interesting thing that happened was that I realized I had changed. Nothing in the house had changed, but I had changed because it felt like home. And I was finally paying attention. And this moment ended up taking me down a rabbit hole. What is home really? Now, this is something that I avoided. If you listen to episode 1 of this podcast, I talk about where Drawn to Place came from and how it came out of my MFA and me wanting to connect to place more and wanting others to connect place. I very purposefully avoided the word home, but I want to jump right into it with this episode too. It might be a little bit heavy, but stick with me because there's some great stuff in here. And I went down this home. What is it? Why do some people feel rooted in a place instantly and others always feel like a visitor? Like me, I have lived in places where I instantly feel like that's home, and I'm living here where I still feel like a visitor. It's getting better, but I still feel like a visitor. Why is that? And I've lived here the longest. Why does the holiday season make the idea of home feel heavier, lonelier, or more nostalgic than usual? And the deeper I looked into research, into design theory, psychology of belonging, the clearer this became. Home isn't a location. Home is a relationship. It is a practice. And it's one that we build through repeated acts of noticing. It's not the dramatic moments that make a place become ours. It's the tiny, consistent recognitions, like the light falling across the coffee table and the couch this morning in the winter, which is what I expected. Hearing the furnace kick on at a certain time and the fans, you know that. Hearing in the summer, hearing certain birds outside. Noticing a window on a walk that maybe it needs to be repaired, but now it's become familiar and you love that it's not, just slightly off. You love that. Or floorboards creaking at the same spot every time. There's floorboards in my parents' house. I know which ones are going to creak and I have to jump around them. And they still kind of jump around them when I go home. And I haven't lived there since I was 18. But, that's like going back home. So we don't build home all at once. We build it in layers through presence, familiarity, engagement. And so today I want to explore this idea, how noticing transforms a place into a home and eventually into my home. I'm going to say that again. Noticing transforms a place into a home and eventually into my home. That's what we're going to unpack today and why that matters, especially now in a season when the world tells us our sense of home should be effortless, perfect, nostalgic, and for many of us, it's anything but that. So let's talk about what home really is and how you can create it anywhere you go. Welcome to Drawn to Place podcast. I'm Sean, former architect, educator, artist, and I'm on a mission to create this community of people that just notice more and engage purposely with where they are. Thank you so much for being here. Let's dive into it. So every holiday season, which is one of my absolute favorite, is holiday season. I love Hallmark movies. I love those sappy little, you know exactly what's going to happen movies. And once my wife asked me why do I like them? Because I am actually I'm not going to say these movies aren't intellectual, but I'm going to say it. I'm very intellectual in other movies, like analyzing it. I like certain directors that are more of I like bad movies too. Don't get me wrong. I love a good B movie, but Hallmark movies just seem out of character for me. But I told her it's because of that predictability. It's because everything works out in the end. It's because it's just so, it's like the serendipity is there, which would never happen in real life. You wouldn't accidentally run into the person who ends up being your rival and why you came home to save your hometown and then fall in love with them, right? That's not going to happen. But it's something about it that I love, that I know that can never happen, but maybe I wish would happen. But we get flooded with these images telling us exactly what home should look like. You should be going home, right? The perfect tree, a perfect kitchen. We see it in the very aesthetic, holiday, beautiful Instagram stories and Instagram reels. Pottery Barn, especially now, is really good at all of us swooning over their settings, their centerpieces, their trees, their decorations, all of that. Architectural Digest, okay? It's the perfect family dynamic. It's the perfect soundtrack playing in the background. But here's the thing, and we all know this, is those images are sets, they're designed, they're constructed, teams of people, they are scripted. And even though we know that, we still compare our lives to them. And I know, I do the exact same thing. You set these expectations that are way too high, and then you don't meet them, and then you get frustrated and stressed about it. But let's focus on the home part of it. In that home, the real kind, it isn't built from an aesthetic perfection. Home is built through engagement. It's built through the tiny things that you return to, through the daily details that you notice, through the way a place starts to feel familiar because you've actually allowed yourself to be present in that place. In The Invisible Man, Ralph Ellison writes, if you don't know where you are, you probably don't know who you are. And Drawn to Place is built on that very idea. That's the idea that started this entire thing back before my MFA. So place forms our identity. Think of when somebody says, where are you from? And you say Seattle, or you say Boston, or you say the OC, or you say outside of LA. Instantly that person has put an identity on you. Now it might not be correct, just riddled with stereotypes, but that place gave you an identity for that person to start with on getting to know you, or even a common ground that you two might have. So place forms your identity, attention forms connection, connection forms belonging, and belonging is what makes a place start to go to home, starts to feel like home, is that belonging. Noticing is a form of rooting. In Drawn to Place, I talk a lot about noticing, especially if you are here from Instagram, on my reels, or in the shorts here on YouTube. I talk about noticing a lot. Notice daily, notice something, form a ritual out of noticing. It becomes this habit of noticing. Not as a cute little mindfulness exercise, but as an actual practice, a skill, a muscle that you hone. Here's what research shows. Slowing down lowers cortisol. Sensory grounding brings the nervous system back to baseline. Observational journaling or drawing increases clarity, reduces stress, and naming what you see creates a sense of ownership, even in a place that isn't yours. That's why one of the books that I always recommend to people that are getting into noticing and want to go deeper into that connection is any field guide for where you live. It can be plants, it can be animals, it can be birds. Get field guides. It can be the little golden book ones that people used to carry around as kids, that we all had. Just grab a field guide and start giving stuff names. Instead of that tree, now you know that that's a Douglas fir. You start to identify with it and connect more with it. Instead of just, oh, I think it's a blue jay or a camp robber. Now you know that it's a Steller's jay. And then you start to notice differences in them. Name the mushrooms. When you name something, you form a connection with it. It doesn't have to be ownership. It doesn't have to feel like now I own this. It's not like, colonizers, that's what they do. They go into a place and they strip it of its original names and they give it its own name. And there's a reason for that, a very negative reason for that. But on the positive side, when you give something a name, then you connect more with it. You start to know more about it and you feel this connection with it. It's an interesting thing that happens just because you know the name of something or what it's called, or how it grows, or they typically don't grow here, or this one's thriving here for some reason, right? You have this relationship with it that goes a little bit deeper. Ellen Langer, a mindfulness researcher who studied noticing for 40 plus years, writes, attention is the most basic form of love. So think about that in the context of home. If attention is a form of love, then paying attention to your surroundings is the first step in loving where you are. That's what I noticed I wasn't doing here. That's why I did my thesis. That's why I started Drawn to Place on noticing and paying attention and purposeful connection, purposeful engagement, is because I wasn't loving where I am because I refused to notice where I was. And that's the first step. The most basic form of love is attention. And I wasn't giving my place where I live attention. And if you don't have to adore it, like I probably won't be one of those people that are absolutely love the rain. They love it when it gets, the big dark comes. They love it when it gets cloudy. They love it when it's, they enjoy the sun, but they like the rain more. I will never be that person. I know I won't be. But I don't have to adore it. I don't even have to feel comfortable in it yet. I'm just noticing something. I'm noticing all the little things, and I'm starting to feel more connected to home, which is what you can do too. If you're feeling disconnected, or if you even feel super connected to where you are, you start to notice you get another level of appreciation and connection and homeness to where you are, right? You start to form these micro roots, and the micro roots, they matter because noticing is what transforms a space. It transforms a space from a place to a home and then to my home, right? But you have to start with these micro roots. It's like these roots under the ground are just going to reach out, and you start noticing this and noticing that. It becomes a habit, and now you're noticing all sorts of stuff without even noticing that you're noticing, right? So Drawn to Place is built on one big idea, that places become meaningful when we engage with them on purpose. That engagement might be drawing, writing, photography, could be walking, or simply sitting long enough in a place to let your eyes adjust to the details, letting your ears adjust to all the sounds that are happening around you, not just the ones you instantly hear. You sit there long enough. What's the closest sound I can hear? What's the farthest sound I can hear? Right? You don't have to record when you notice. The act and the whole art of Drawn to Place is you noticing. That's it. Now, I connect and I love to draw, and I love to make these grids, like window grids and garage door grids that I have going on, that you've seen before. If you haven't, go to TikTok or Instagram, or you're on YouTube Shorts, and you will see these things I've set up, a perpetual nature journal. That's how I connect. You don't have to. If you take photographs, do that. If you want to open your recorder on your phone and just record the sounds, do that. Or don't do anything. Just notice. Because that's where the art is. The art isn't the finished piece. It isn't the thing you can show to somebody. You can't show them this art. This happens in the in-between. And once you do that, something subtle shifts. A place is anywhere. Like that place, this place, whatever. Oh yeah, we've been to that place. Like it's neutral. It's just background. It's like, But home is the moment that you start recognizing things. When I left here, I always see this crooked fence. That's the window with the slatted shutters. It's slightly off. I love how that one's just slightly off. Or the light in this room is best in the afternoon during the summers. Or I love to be up here in the mornings because of the way the traffic is low, but I can hear everything in this upstairs window through this nice studio, right? That becomes home. Then my home is when these recognitions become a relationship. When you're part of the story of a place, and the place in this weird, especially imperfect way, it's part of your story. So you become part of its story, and it becomes part of your story. That becomes my home. Right? That's a huge distinction. And that transformation doesn't require years. It does require attention. It requires showing up, even briefly, especially imperfectly, even on days when you feel disconnected from anything and everything. If you're feeling really disconnected, it'll take more effort for you to connect and to go see something. If you set up a ritual, which I really urge you to set up some sort of a ritual, be it a journal, be it a journal in writing, be it a journal drawing. And the reason I want you to do that is not for the finished product. Remember I said the finished product isn't what matters. I want you to do that so that this ritual becomes your way of engaging and having this habit. If you're feeling disconnected, flip open your sketchbook and start to draw. And that's why I like the grids of the window grids and the garage door grids or mailboxes or whatever it is that you've noticed that's only slightly different in your neighborhood. is because you don't have to think about what to draw. It's not this practice of some artists are like, yeah, just draw every day. Just find something to draw around you every day. Yes, that's a part of noticing, but sometimes you don't know what to draw and you just get stuck on, I don't know what to draw. And so then you don't draw because you can't find something that you think is worthy of drawing. If you set up a window grid or garage door grid or something like that, you know you're drawing a window. Now you just find a window and draw it. It doesn't matter. There's 99 of them are going to fit on the page that I'm doing. The garage doors, I don't remember how many, 50 of them I think are going to fit on the page. I just pick one. It doesn't have to be fancy or pretty or gorgeous. That's not what it's about. It's about the noticing, and it's about the fact that I don't have to think about what to draw. I'm drawing a garage door. Boom. I go find a garage door, right? So when you feel disconnected, those really, really come in handy. This time of year, people talk about home like it's supposed to feel automatic. But home is not automatic. Even growing up, it felt automatic growing up. If you say back home or where I grew up, my home, it felt that way because that's all you knew. You were a kid, you were learning how to socialize and grow and learning language and math and all that stuff, school. You weren't thinking about something being a home, it just was home. So it felt automatic. Well, when you move away from that, you don't realize that, oh, that was automatic, and now you might not know how to create a home. And so for a lot of people, the holidays make that process much harder. It's not easier. Some people don't have a childhood home to return to. Some people never felt safe in the home they had. Some are building new traditions. Some feel out of place in their own lives and in their own home. And if that's you, if home feels complicated, you're not doing anything wrong. There is nothing that you're doing wrong. And I understand that the media and the movies, that's what sells, right? Nostalgia sells in the holidays. You want this connection, that's what sells. But know that you're not wrong in watching those and being frustrated by them or not liking them at all. Okay? And it's you being human. And honestly, this is an opportunity. Like, lean into that, name it, and then you have a chance to build home intentionally instead of relying on nostalgia or these things that you think it should be. Now you can be very intentional about what home do you want to create with where you are. And honestly, that's the best way to do it, because nostalgia is sweet. Nostalgia is nice, but nostalgia lies to us. It can tell us that home is something we used to have instead of something we can still create, right? Nostalgia will tell you you can never have it as good as it was, so why are you even trying right now? It's not even true. I read once that every time you remember a memory, you change it slightly, depending on where you're telling it. So you might tell the story of something that happened, and you've told the story numerous times, but depending on what social situation you're in, you might add or omit things from it, and now that becomes the new memory. If I didn't really believe this until I started talking to my sister about things that we were both there doing that I recall very fondly, and we'll have very different ideas. It'll be close. We'll have very different views and memories on what happened, and neither one of ours are correct, right? That's what nostalgia is. It tells you something you used to have. Don't try to build that same home. You can do the same traditions, but know they're going to be a little bit different because you're noticing more. You're being better at connecting. You're now on the other side of the engagement, having to make the thing happen, and it has to be purposeful. But that's a wonderful opportunity for you to do that. And Drawn to Place is all about building home with your eyes and your ears open. We're not here to notice and to just let life go by and happen without us fully being engaged in it. That's the whole purpose of Drawn to Place. I know, I told you this podcast was going to be heavy. I'm really sorry. But really, I'm not. I'm not sorry. I'm really glad you're here and listening to this, because this is good stuff, right? This is the whole heart of Drawn to Place. If you're listening to this podcast, and then you are a hardcore member of this community that I'm building, and I'm so, so glad you're here. So here's a few ways to make home the Drawn to Place way, no matter where you are in this season. Especially if you're getting really stressed out, there are things in here that will help you. You feel like you're doing nothing, but it can help you tremendously to just step away. Do that and do some of these things. So the first is choose one tiny detail to return to every day, whether it be a window, a corner, a sound, a part of the morning light. Let it become familiar. Go to it over and over and over. Our minds absolutely love ritual and repetition. And we're not talking about ritual like in the Temple of Doom. It's not that kind of ritual where we're chanting to a god and tearing people's hearts out and it's burning in our hand. Okay, that's not the ritual I'm talking about. A ritual is just something that you do over and over the same way or similar, right? Drawing garage doors, drawing windows, going on the same route every day or every other day, right? That becomes a ritual. Let that happen and return to it every day. Slow down long enough to see what you normally ignore. Your nervous system will really thank you for this, because research shows that simply observing your surroundings for 30 seconds lowers stress. You sit, take a couple deep breaths, and just observe. Even if it's just your office in your cubicle, observe things. Observe things you notice that are different. What things are the same? What patterns do you see? What's the smallest pattern you can see? Right? You're just slowing down and observing. Third one is draw something. It doesn't have to be good. We're not here to be good. You can draw it and then burn it. You can draw it and throw it away. You could draw it digitally if you want and then just erase it. I mean, it's just when you draw something, you lay claim to it. You draw it, you understand it more, and what you draw, you belong to it even a little bit. So if you draw a leaf or you draw an acorn or an apple or your pencil sharpener, it, because of the act of drawing, you start to see it in a different way because you see more of it. You have to really look at the details. Maybe you've never noticed the dimples on the side of your mouse before, and how many of them are there, and the pattern that it's in, and how it conforms to the contour. Like that kind of level of noticing happens when you try to draw it. That's where the magic happens. That's the magic. That's the art. What you're putting down on paper isn't the art. So now every time you look at a mouse, you're going to start comparing the computer mice to each other. Oh, look at that one. Oh, look at this button here. Look at the configuration of that, how they designed that, this pencil sharpener. Or you draw an apple, you'll start to notice that the way they curve and maybe the bumps on the bottom. You're like, oh, there's 5 bumps on the bottom. Maybe you've never noticed every apple should have 5 bumps on the bottom, right? Where are those bumps from? I'm going to tell you they're from the petals. Okay, so the bumps on the bottom of the apple, those are the petals, the 5 petals on an apple blossom. And that center part at the very bottom, that was the center of the blossom at one point. Yeah, I know, farm kid, grew up around orchards and apples and all that stuff. So if it's missing a bump, it means one of the petals probably got damaged, frost damage or something like that. If one's shorter than the other, that's a lot of times frost damage. Anyway, that's a separate podcast, but there you go. Let you have that for free. Number 4, make a ritual. Like I've talked about many times already in this podcast, tea at the same window, a nightly walk around the block, 2-minute journal entry. Rituals really, really create home, especially if it's a ritual around something that's very much of that place. Like me doing the garage doors. Those are garage doors that only happen in my neighborhood. I'm only doing a sheet of garage doors, drawing of them, of ones that are within walking distance that I see on my walk. I'm doing another one, ritual, that is windows that are on Main Street USA and Disneyland. Now, is Disneyland going to feel like home to me? Probably not, because I don't spend time there. I don't go there. But what it will do is that if I do all 99 of those at some point, if and when I do go to Disneyland and start walking down Main Street, I'm going to start noticing all those windows. I drew that one. Oh, I drew that one. Oh, wait, there's a window over here that's really interesting because the shutters aren't on the top half of the window. They're on the bottom half of the window. Look, let's go find it, right? Stuff like that happens. So it's going to feel a little bit like home. It's going to feel like I've been there before. It's going to feel familiar. That's home. And then you just let the place reveal itself slowly to you. You can't force this, right? You can't do a year's worth of recognizing in an afternoon, right? You don't need to force it, and the connection will happen through repeated attention. It works if you let it work, right? The process works if you let the process do the work, okay? And it just takes time. And you really probably won't even notice it. It's like when you're acquiring a new language or you're learning a new skill. A lot of times you think you're failing miserably, and you realize that, oh, actually I've learned a lot more than I thought I've learned. That's what's going to happen here. All of a sudden you're just going to be noticing, and you're going to start feel like a place is home a little bit more. So here's what I want to leave you with. Home isn't a destination. It's a practice. It's that practice of noticing. It's something you build by showing up, by noticing the way the space breathes, by letting yourself participate in the life around you. And if the season feels heavy, or you feel disconnected, or you're just too busy, or you feel this pressure, just let this idea anchor you. It can make a little home inside any moment where you choose to pay attention. And that's the heart of Drawn to Place. That's why we're here. That's the community we're building, is one that is paying attention, purposefully connecting and engaging with where we are and making places feel like home. That's the heart of Drawn to Place. And I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for listening. Wherever you are, I hope you find something small, something real, something wonderfully ordinary to notice today. And I hope you can share this podcast with somebody else. If you want to go even more deeper into this, or just a tangent of this, I also have a Substack, which you can grab the link in the show notes. There's a link there for my Substack if you want to read that. If you're not already following me on Instagram or TikTok, go over there and find it. All of it is Drawn to Place. Make it easy for you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Keep showing up. Develop a ritual. Keep noticing. And I want to hear all about it. If you notice something, drop me a line. Let me see the comments. I want to see it. I want to be there to cheer you on. I'm Sean. Thank you so much.